Hello, everybody. I am yet again Price McKinney. Simply put, and as always, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening. We're gonna dive right into this one head first as well. Um, what are you tolerating um, in your relationship? Be it you've just met the person, you all are actively dating, you all have um, officially declared yourself as a couple, and or even married. Um, what is it you're tolerating? Because oftentimes, especially in the beginning, when you're learning the person, you're going through your courtship, dating, whatever you want to call it, and you start noticing there's this thing, whatever that thing is, and it you put up with it, you put up with it, you put up with it, you deal with it, you slightly address it, but not fully engage into a conversation about it. And you keep just and all the while it's borderline becoming grieving to you. I'm not saying that it's something major. It could be major, minor, whatever. It's still something that bothers you. Um, and you seldom ever even mention it. But when you hear it or when you see it, it borderline makes you cringe. You follow me? So, what is that thing? And let's go and fast forward. Why have you accepted that? Because that's what you're doing when you tolerate something. You're just accepting it, um, and you're dealing with it um, passively. What are, what are the benefits for you that allow you to cover that up and not deal with it, not address it consistently? Um, Oftentimes with men, I've been guilty of this myself. Well, she's got airbags. She's got a backyard. Um, she's stacked. Okay, top to bottom, she's stacked. Um, and you oftentimes hear people say, I'm just using this as an example. You hear people say, well, the makeup sex was great. Okay, I'll ride with you on that. Here's why I challenge that. So why does it have to get to that point where once you get here, then you know the makeup sex is coming? Because at some point, that's not going to be the benefit. That's going to possibly run out. Um, so the focus needs to be not what the benefit from arguing is by way of makeup sex. Why not communicate and understand that we can agree to disagree and then not even become an argument? That we just sit down as two full-grown adults and have a or the conversation. Non-emotional. I'm not gonna fly off on you. You're not gonna fly off on me. Here's why I say that. So tolerating things. I don't like arguing. I don't like arguing at all. Very laid back dude. Um, in times past, extremely passive unnecessarily, and it cost. And here's how I did: because I would allow, tolerate, put up with, accept being talked to a certain kind of way. So what that did, I dealt with it the wrong way twice, two different ways. On the front end, I was passive. I just, because I don't want to argue about it, I'm not going to say anything. That's not dealing with it. Then, as I finally started dealing with it, then it became da 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 da, and I'm just going at it, right? That's the wrong way too. So Now I have to address it the right way, which is, um, hey player, you you can't talk to me like that. You can't come at me that way. I don't do it to you. I don't expect you to do it to me. And that's how this needs to work. Um, so whatever it is that's causing you to make you believe that it's okay to talk to me or talk to that person that particular way, we need to address that and we need to have that conversation and then come back to this one because you cannot talk to me in that tone of voice. You cannot come at me with a bunch of explicits and then expect me to sit here and listen to what it is that you got to say. This is why you have to address within yourself first and be honest with you about what it is you're going to tolerate, what it is you're going to accept. Because if when you don't, you wind up harboring it and letting it sit and fester for however long that is. And then before you know it, you do what the old Price used to do. Then you just snap out of nowhere, and people are looking at you like you got 28 heads. Like, what happened to this dude? He was cool. Yeah, I am cool. Just not right at the moment. I'm not. I've lost my cool, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where your temper becomes uncontrolled, or how you handle things becomes not the right way, if that makes sense. So again, what is it you tolerating because of the benefits or because of what else you're getting that enables you to let that sit and just let it keep sitting, let it keep sitting, to the degree you're not saying anything at all, and then when you finally do, you, you may not be being heard. This is for male and female. You may not be being heard because of how you're addressing it. So it is important, and all of this goes back to something I've said. Communication is the key. I don't care what kind of car you have. I don't care how expensive it is. I don't care how if it's a lemon, and I've had my share of them. Um, I don't care what the horsepower is in the engine, uh, how many miles an hour it can go. You can put it on the Autobahn in Germany and just take off, almost NASCAR. If you don't put the key in the ignition, you ain't going nowhere. You just have a car. What's my point? The key to that ignition to driving your relationship is communication. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with the person. And please, for your sake, do not just accept and tolerate stuff. Here's another one. Just because you're lonely. That's not a substitute. It's not a substitute. Especially when you know that this particular thing is something that I really can't deal with this. Now, I'm not saying you have to cut the person off completely or let the whole thing go. I'm not saying that at all. But this is where you have to open your mouth and talk. And historically, I know, my generation of people, me and some of my buddies talk about it all the time, especially with men. We were not taught to talk. We only taught to suppress and not say anything. And that is not the answer. That's why we have a whole lot of men now around my age, and even the ones coming behind that are angry because we were never taught how to properly manage our emotions. We just react, not respond, react. We're not going to think about this. We're not going to process it. We're just going to react. Wrong answer. So be mindful of whatever it is that you're accepting, putting up with, tolerating. because you don't want it to come out and the same thing, and the person says, well, you never said anything about this before, and then that turns into a whole big argument, a whole big you know unpleasant conversation. So do it peacefully, do it respectfully. um Again, one of the things that I've had to work on, and I still have to work on it, is my presentation when I'm saying something, because I've had a history of being extremely demanding. um yeah, being very straightforward, um and not being considerate of how I say what I say, and more importantly, how that other person is going to feel based on what I say. Because you can't go in guns blazing, telling the person off, and then expect them to actually openly listen to what it is that you're trying to say. They'll completely miss your point, because now it's become emotional both ways. She's hurt, you're mad. We ain't going nowhere now. Stuck in the water, wheels spinning in the mud. So just be mindful of that. Um, Again, just check what it is that you tolerate. Check it out. Look at it, address it, within yourself first. Be honest with you, share it with the other person, and then y'all go from there. It doesn't have to be that doesn't have to be the end, by no means. It doesn't even have to be a red flag if you talk about it the right way. All right. So again, I'm Price McKinney. Simply Put. I want to thank you for listening. Follow me on Instagram, Simply Put PM. I got a Facebook page, Simply Put with Price McKinney. And of course, my Facebook page has my Simply Put picture on it. Um, and if you have not already, please go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Of course, it is Price McKinney, Simply Put. Again, I'm not an expert. I just know what I know. And I promise you, I'm going to see you soon. Thank you for listening.